Hey, it's JC. Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban lifestyle and jungle survival. In a previous video, I talked about the 3-knife system, which is a system I adhere to when bringing out knives and tools to the outdoor environment. Today, I thought we'll have a bit of fun and kind of a creative exercise, and that is, if you could only bring out a pair of tools, which combo would you bring for bushcraft and survival? Think about it and let me know in the comments below. First, if you watch this channel regularly but have not subscribed, please do so to help the channel out. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, do check out my shop links in the pinned comment or description below. Thanks. So I've got a collection of tools which I think are suitable for the outdoor environment. Of course, the tool suitability would depend on your environment. I'm in the tropical jungle, so this makes sense to me. If you're in a temperate or boreal forest, and depending on the season, some tools might be more relevant or applicable to you. But by and large, for myself in Southeast Asia, these tools will make sense for most people going out, and they definitely make sense for me. So we do have a hatchet. This is a Husqvarna 13-inch hatchet. I have a parang over here representing a parang or a machete, any kind of long chopping tool. This is made by my parang. It's a Duku Cendong and it's made in Malaysia, the birthplace of parangs. Over here, I've got a silky folding saw. It is a folding saw that comes in various sizes. I have the pocket boy, which is this one that I carry all the time, and I also have the big boy, which is a really large one for big pieces of wood. For a big survival style knife, I have the Cold Steel Recon Scout, but that is being customized or modified with the top guard being grounded off. For a more kind of in between a bushcraft and survival knife, we have the Tops Fieldcraft by Brothers of Bushcraft, also known as the Bob knife, and for more woodcraft or bushcraft style knife for finer work with the Mora Companion. So this really represents any kind of Mora or blades of this thickness and size. On the left over here, I've got two folding knives. One is more of a traditional knife in the form of the Buck 112, and this is the Backlock, and you have a more modern day folder with the Spyderco Para 3. Personally, I do not bring this out, but I know a lot of people would bring out the Para 3 or Para 2 to an outdoor environment. For multi-tools, we of course have the Victorinox Swiss Army knives. This is the 111mm. This is the 91mm camper with custom scales and some additional tools as well. And of course, for multi-tools, you can bring a Leatherman, and for the outdoor environment, I think the rebar is the best, and I've talked about that in another video as well. So these are the tools. Let me know if you agree on this tool set in general, or is there something else that you would have instead. So in a 3-knife system, typically when I go out to the jungle, whether it's for bushcraft or survival, I think my system can hold out because I choose 3 tools out of this tool set. But I should mention now that I distinguish between bushcraft and survival. Bushcraft means going out to a known environment, a place I'm familiar with, and doing stuff for fun, whether it's wood processing, to make a fire, to make food, to make coffee, or just to have some fun building shelters to improve outdoor skills. It's really a leisure activity, not putting myself in big risk, but of course being prepared for anything. And there's almost no chance that I'll get lost because I know the environment very well. Is it possible that I may get injured and will need more difficulty to get out? Yes, definitely, but again, chances are low. Now for a survival situation, I'm not talking about if you are in a plane crash and you just crash in the middle of nowhere. Of course, that is a survival situation, but that's not the context I'm talking about when I do my videos. I'm talking about going into an unknown environment for a hike or maybe a jungle expedition or a camping trip where you do not know the area, you might have the map, but you really have no familiarity of the area and you need to be prepared for anything. So in that kind of situation, a jungle expedition or a long hike, I'm not going out there to make camp stuff, carve wood and just have fun, right? I have a purpose, maybe going from point A to point B, or if it's a camping trip, going to one specific point, doing a camp and then coming back. But because it's an environment that I'm not familiar with, I want to have tools with me that I'm confident in, that in the event I get into kind of an emergency or survival situation, I have the tools that I have confidence in to get me out of sticky situations. So what I'm trying to say is my tool set would be different for a bushcraft and a survival situation. And when it comes to a tool system like we are choosing now, then it becomes really important. Regardless whether it's a bushcraft or survival scenario, I can tell you the one tool that I'll definitely be bringing out, and that is a folding saw. In the jungle environment, this is essential to cut wood, and you want to cut thicker pieces of wood, let's say 2.5 inches or more, while you can cut with a parang or even a large blade, and of course a hatchet. It's going to take a lot more energy. This is efficient. You would keep your energy and you don't waste water, because you're going to lose a lot of water through sweat in this humid environment if you're going to be chopping wood. So definitely I would always bring a folding saw. Now, since this exercise is about a two-tool system, that means I can only choose one more, and I can tell you right off the bat, I'm going to eliminate the folding knives and the multi-tools, because I know I need something big and I want to be able to do the task I want, whether for bushcraft or survival. So let's talk about big knives now. There are 3 big knives over here. I would say I would not take the hatchet because I have a saw, and the parang can actually do the job of a hatchet. And because we're in this climate, again I'm talking about my environment in the tropical jungle, there's no need to chop a lot of firewood to keep warm. In a survival situation, you need fire to boil water. If not, it can be seen as a luxury to heat up food or for morale. So the saw and a knife would definitely be able to get me through those fire making needs. One thing when I think about a jungle, I think about going jungle bashing, and if I intend to be bashing through hard vegetation, then I'll definitely bring a parang or machete. So again, it depends on my activity. For bushcrafting, sometimes I do go jungle bashing, and in my 3-knife system, I would have a parang and a smaller knife. But if I'm just going to do regular bushcrafting, then I would say maybe I don't need the parang, maybe I don't need the big knife. I would go with one of these smaller knives. Personally, I prefer the combination or the in-between of a bushcraft and survival knife. So something like this, the Tops Bob or the Brakimo. Other knives that are similar but I don't have might be the SE5 or the Becker BK2. So those are knives that I'll put in that category. So I would say if I'm going for bushcraft, if I have the saw and I could only have a 2-knife system, I think I would just have these 2 tools. But if I was going jungle bashing, I knew I wanted to bash and do some bushcrafting at the same time, then I think I'll have a more general tool. I'll actually bring out the parang. So the parang, of course, can be used for bigger work and to chop, but you can choke up for finer work. And a parang this size, which is only 8 inches, allows you to do really fine work. So those will be my 2 choices. Now let's talk about survival. Now survival is completely different because once again, you are in that kind of environment where you never know what's going to happen, so you want to be best equipped. As mentioned, definitely bring the saw. I will not bring the small knives. I would have to choose one of the big knives. Right? There's a saying, a big knife can do what a small knife does to some extent, but a small knife can't do what a big knife does. And when it comes to a survival situation where you definitely may need to chop, in my case, I definitely want to cut into bamboo or chop bamboo. Yes, my saw can do that, but I want a redundancy, so I'll bring a big knife. Now, which of these 2 would I bring? Would I bring a more traditional parang, or would I bring a more modern general utility outdoor knife? In this case, I think honestly either would be fine. I'll be fine bringing this combination or this combination, honestly. But if I guess I really had to pick, I would just go again based on materials. This is 5160 steel. This is CPM 3V, much tougher. Also has decent edge retention, but this is easier to sharpen in the field. But this is still possible to sharpen in the field. But again, it retains its edge. And in terms of the grind, this is a full flat grind with a really thick stock. This can cut, this can slice very well. This one has a convex grind, mainly used and meant for chopping. That's what a parang is for. It can do some fine work, but I think would not be as good as a cutter as this. So I guess in a survival situation, if I really had to choose, then I would choose these two items. Well, that's my choice. So for survival, I would choose the Silky Saw and the Cold Steel Recon Scout. And for just bushcraft, I would go with the Silky Saw and a knife like the Tops Bob. But let me know what you think. If you were limited to a 2-knife system, maybe due to budget, maybe due to weight, or whatever the reason might be, which 2 tools would you choose for bushcraft and survival in your environment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.